So, back at it with another video. Talked about putting a trolling motor on the SUP-Yak last time around. And I like the idea so much that that's what we're going to do. And I thought, hey, other people might like this idea too, so let's make a video. Anyways, here's our trolling motor. Got this off of Amazon. It was one of the smallest trolling motors I could find. I think anything with a whole lot of thrust would be very difficult to control. I'm going to side mount it because trying to control it from the rear is going to be extremely problematic. So we're going to side mount it, and you're not going to want too much thrust that way. This is a Watersnake 24-pound thrust 12-volt trolling motor. They also had an 18-pound thrust, but this has got high and low, so the low speed is a 12-pound. So hopefully that'll work. I've also got a battery, which actually is only about 20 pounds of battery. So between that and the trolling motor, it only adds about 25 pounds, maybe an extra 30 once I make a bracket for it. So I don't think it's going to overload the yak, even with two people on it. It's rated for 440, I believe. So between two, a 200-pound guy, 150-pound woman, which, I'm not saying anything, ladies. Maybe you're less, maybe the guy's less. I am, But anyways, I think it's got plenty of capacity. And with this battery and the current draw, on low speed, I should have approximately 5 hours runtime and about half that on high. So we'll see how it works in the real world. And I'll show you some steps along the way. Having this webbing along here is going to be pretty nice in order to secure whatever bracket I happen to make. So we'll make the video and we'll see how it goes and let you see the results when we get it all done. All right, here's your basic components that I got so far. Again, battery, this is going to be the baseboard, the mounting plate, whatever you want to call it. I just got a simple block of 2x4 right here, okay? I'm going to glue it to my baseboard, and that's going to be really about all you need. I'll probably have some kind of quick disconnect to go from the here to the battery instead of using the actual battery clamps. But that's essentially what it's going to be there. And now this board is essentially going to be on here like so. And this is how, come here baby, this is how it's going to mount. It's just basically like that. I believe I'll be able to use a kayak paddle on the other side to affect steering. And this, I'm going to work out some kind of strap arrangement. The issue is going to be that as this applies thrust, it's going to want to pull this board back and up. And so what I'll need to do is make sure it's strapped down. Oh, just had a thought. Could put a somewhat of a piece of wood out here that I could strap up a little farther, and that ought to prevent it. I just need to figure out some good way of attaching it to the webbing, and not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. But the battery itself will have some mounting brackets and a strap, of course, so that doesn't go anywhere. And again, I don't believe it's going to interfere. I'll be able to move it to different positions on the board depending on whether I'm by myself or I got Miss Mirage with me. So I think it's going to work really well, and I'm going to round out all the corners the way I do. Probably going to epoxy it and paint it white, so it'll look good, and I do believe that we should have some good success with this. The board's got the triple fins underneath, so it tracks pretty well as it is, and again, we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll make a double setup so I can have two trolling motors, hot rod this baby. Right on, right on. Okay, so I'll keep you posted. I thought I would show you what I think is a potential problem. I wanted to swap this around so that the handle points to the rear, make it easier to reach up and grab and turn it while I'm driving the yak. So you got to pull a little bolt out here and you can flip the head around. But these wires were secured by these little clamps in here, okay, so that the steering rod, if you want to call it that, can slide back in to make it more compact. So they use these little tiny clamps right here, but you can see how they have crimped the wires. I can't see it that good in this picture, but the wires just are crimped so badly. I'm very unhappy with it, and I'm not going to put it back that way. Essentially, I'll disable the little nut on the underside here that allows you to retract or extend the steering handle there. And yeah, and I'm not going to put those clamps back in place the way they had it, because I did not like how that was done. Wish I could get some better light here so you could really see just how badly there. That gives you a pretty good idea. Look at that wire. I mean, that's almost compromised to me, is how I see it. That's probably the worst one, but that's kinked pretty good. I'm not happy with it. Not going to put it back that way. So just be aware of it if you want to do the same thing I did. All right, so here's our progress so far. What we managed to do. Got some white paint on it. Screwed and glued the little bracket. One thing I should mention is I did get the model with the transom mount bracket. Okay, they sell one of these with a kayak mount, but it is made for more of a hard shell kayak, not an inflatable style. And the complaints on there about that bracket were many. And apparently it was not a good design, and I didn't really think it would work with how I was going to make this anyhow. So this was actually cheaper. If you get the bracket, it's $50 more. So that is why I got the regular bracket. Now, what we're going to do is, I did find one of these in my parts bin that I'm going to use to connect it to the battery, swap out the battery clamps, and hardwired it, somewhat hardwired, just so I can disconnect it a little more easily. I've got some little bits and bobbles here that we're going to use to secure the battery and keep it from sliding around, although I don't really expect it to do a whole lot of sliding. Just some regular straps and whatnot for a battery. I am going to have to through bolt it, the little brackets here, because any kind of screw, this piece of wood's very thin, so any kind of screw is going to either poke out the bottom or be so shallow that there's not going to be enough bite for it. Probably going to strap it on there in such a way that I can grab it by the carrying handle on the battery just to pick it up and tote it around that way. What else? Once I think my next step here is probably going to be to epoxy this instead of just paint. Like it to be a little more waterproof, and I'm a big fan of the West System type epoxies. It's just so easy to use with the easy mixing and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put a couple of racing stripes on it, because you know, you put some racing stripes on there, blue, to kind of somewhat match the yakety yak over there. But racing stripes, it'll go faster. Well, all right, here's our finished product. Pretty much, I'm just gonna disassemble it, put a bunch of epoxy on there at the end. Like I said, I've got this swapped around so that the handle actually points the same direction as the prop. Took my little handy dandy quick connector on and off. And all you got to do is plug it in and you got juice. Forward and reverse. Good deal. One thing to note, Make sure that this little end is secure, okay, of the connector. It is bare, and I do have it directly wired. I probably should have an inline fuse, and may end up doing that at some point, but I've got it secure on here, and that's probably how it's going to live, is in that little spot. But that is hot, okay, so if it touches over here, it will fuse itself to that. At the very least, it will make a great arc of spark, and you will be scared and jump and scream and holler. Hopefully not like a little girl, unless you are a little girl, and then it's okay. But yeah, got my racing stripes on there, so that will definitely add, what, at least a couple of knots of speed to it. I don't know, maybe more. My son assures me that's how those things work. That's his spoiler back there that he's going to put on his Subi WRX. And he assures me that it's good for at least 20 to 30 horsepower. So I figure this has got to be at least a knot. Anyways, we're going to take it all apart again and put some epoxy on it. And first opportunity I get, I'll go give it a shot. And there it is, the finished product. The motorized SUP-Yak. Watersnake 12-volt electric trolling motor. Power supply. Mount. Ready to go. Configured in 2-person mode. However, you will not get a chance to see that because Miss Mirage does not want to be on camera. So that will have to be another day with just the old man. But you'll get to see it soon.